Welcome to LezPod. You are here, my friends, because you believe in the LGBTQ community and the importance of sharing our individual stories to help impact one another. The goal of the show is to introduce you to people and ideas that are going to help you and motivate you to pursue your dreams and empower you to believe in yourself. Okay? My name is Alex Friedlander, and I'm here to introduce you to remarkable people who have helped shift the world we live in today. Today's guest is the one and only FAY'S. That's
me.
Right. Yes, girl. FAY'S is a legend to me and to probably so many of you. She is the host of FAY'What, the amazing podcast that's out there. Be sure to check it out. Okay. She's also a host on What's Happening Out. Right? Did I say that right?
It's called It's Happening Out.
It's Happening Out. I apologize.
No,
it's Happening Out. And she does a lot for the community, but I'm going to let her share a little bit about that. So help me welcome FAY'What to the show. Woo!
We're our own studio audience. I love that. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for having me, honey. Like, you've had some remarkable guests on your show, so I'm like super humbled and just like, wow, super gratitude right now that you invited me on your show.
Thank you so much.
Very, very cool.
That means a lot.
So I started my FAY'What channel 2 years, September 11th. It will be 2 years that I started my FAY'What show, and very similar to you know, I wanted to empower and educate our community, and that's what I've been doing with all of you guys watching. I'm also blessed to be the co-anchor at Queer News Tonight, which is the only LGBTQ plus evening news show. You know, I got tired of just watching the regular news where most of the news has nothing to do with us, right? Nothing to do with our community.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I'm blessed to be one of the anchors on that news show. And then me and Al Ferguson, who is like a God guru, he was on RuPaul's Drag Race for like 1 million years. And
then I didn't know that. That is so cool.
Yes. You know, and the other anchors they all rotate, and they're all different people in the community that are fantastic. We need to have you on the show sometime, by the way.
Yes, that would be amazing.
And so then we also do It's Happening Out, which is a show, like a view, kind of everything goes on a Wednesday evening. We also do that. And then what else? I am a pet advocate, as you know. I am the owner of FAY'S Fur Family, and we take care of beautiful pets all year long, but we also do a lot of rescues because there's a huge need for homes for a lot of pets. So adopt, don't shop.
Yes.
And my other passion is my public speaking on addiction recovery. I've been in recovery for 7 years. 7 years come November. I can't believe it's been that long. And LGBTQ, a lot of us in our community unfortunately have succumbed to addiction and don't know where to turn and don't know what to do and think that there is no way to just live that, like get out of that. And
right.
and I am a perfect example that it is possible.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And November what?
November 27th.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right after getting effed up Thanksgiving. Close to 7 years ago, I woke up and was like, wow, what am I doing?
Oh, we're gonna dive into that. I'm excited.
Please.
So let's start off with, what inspired you to create FAY'What? What did you wake up one day and you were like, I wanna inspire, I wanna showcase other people's stories, I wanna what came to you and how long did it take? And
well, I've been in TV and radio for about 12 years, right? And I enjoyed it a lot, and I loved working for other people, Alex. But the reality was that I was given jobs, I was presented jobs where they wanted me to be straight. And I just was, and I have to say that I took a couple of them where I was not my authentic self, and got a paycheck for it, and got a very nice paycheck for it. But that was heavy, and it made my alcoholism grow bigger, and so.
Because you were escaping what was real.
Yeah, completely. Every single day I dreaded going to work. I took at least 4 shots before I went into work. And at work I had what I called the Fay water, which was a Zephyr Hills water. Very similar to this, but full of not water.
I've been there, done that.
Exactly.
I love the honesty.
Oh man, and I couldn't live like that. And the universe, came calling and didn't let me live like that because I honestly I was like a hurricane. I messed up everything. My career, my relationships, my friendships, my home, you name it. I messed it up with my drugs and alcohol. And I always chose drugs and alcohol over everything. And, I lost many jobs. I mean, I would be drunk like on the air of like local radio stations down here that you listen to all the time. This crazy ass was like, whoop. So doing that for a lot of years kind of got me out of the game. And then I started my pet rescue and pet boarding business because dogs don't talk back.
So true.
They bark back, but they don't talk back. And the
Right.
psychology of dogs is just so interesting. That's unconditional love. And they loved me when I didn't love myself. And I started my doggy business, and I was better with dogs than I was with people for a long time. And that's really, really surprising because I've always been a people person, but the drugs and alcohol took that away from me too. And, so I took care of, I've been blessed to have a wonderful job, a wonderful business, FAY'S for a Family for now almost 6 years.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
But this kept on itching me,
Yeah.
and I would watch people on TV and say, I can do a better job, or I want to do that job. And I just couldn't find my niche where I fit in. So I decided to make my own niche, and find my own place. And, FAY'What allows me to be me. It allows me to interview whoever the F I want and talk about whatever the F I want, and people seem to like it. So, I started FAY'What, and then soon after Queer News Tonight came calling, and here I am back in front of a camera again.
That is so amazing.
It's a miracle. It really is. It's a freaking miracle.
But what's so cool is that you're creating your reality. Like, you're the one that's making it happen because you chose to believe in yourself, put yourself out there, be vulnerable, take risks, and look where you are. I mean, not necessarily here right this moment, but like your growth, the fact that people want you on their show. They see the value in who you are. That's beautiful.
I would get booked for things and people would be like, no, don't book Faye because you're going to end up with someone drunk on stage or like making people fall over or whatever. The late great Lynn Beauvais, was one of my biggest supporters. And when I was trying to get sober, she was just like, you've got to do this. You can do this. You will do this, and I've got to say, I'm not going to say my age because a lady never says her age. Getting sober was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I've lost family members. I've had very tough times like we all have in the LGBTQ community. Shit's not easy for us.
Right.
It just isn't.
Life shows up.
We've got to try harder for everything that we do. We have to show up earlier and for longer than anybody else has to. And, that's what a lot of people in our community don't get. So I got this second chance, and I take it so seriously now where, I show up, I'm prepared, I want to be there, I'm smiling no matter what's going on because most people don't get second chances.
Very true. So tell us a little bit about what you learned in, being in recovery. I also am in recovery.
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to blow up your spot, but
No.
I know, and I love that. I love that
good.
about you. Something that like early on, like during COVID, me and this beautiful young lady, got to connect through a friend, through a friend, Rachel. Thank you so much, by the way. I remember us. It was just like kindred women that were all gonna just share their stories. It was during COVID, and everybody didn't have a place to go or talk or whatever. And after, you and me just stayed talking for like another 20 minutes, and you shared your recovery story with me, and I shared it back to you. And it's called Alcoholics Anonymous, but I don't ever say my name is Faye and I'm an alcoholic. I say my name is Faye and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. There's nothing anonymous about my recovery. Everybody knows it. I share it to the world.
I like that. It's different.
For the most part, if people have an issue with me not drinking, I did lose friends when I first got sober, and I found out that it was their issue. It was maybe that they were fearful of maybe their drinking, career or whatever, and that's just kind of how things went. I learned a lot in my recovery. As there is a part in recovery where you have to make amends to people, and that was probably the hardest for me to do. Step 8 and 9 were a tough one. I thought 4 was crappy. I thought 5 was crappy, but anyway, but 8 and 9 was bad, and the first couple of ones were fantastic because there were some people that were like, man, thank God you're not drinking anymore. There's gonna be less sad people in the world now that you're not drinking anymore, Faye, And I was like, yeah, this is gonna be easy. And then I got to like, you know, the third and fourth person, and people were like, look, I'm glad that you're not drinking, but I don't ever want to be in the same room with you anymore. And that was how much hurt.
How did that impact you?
Oh, I was, you know, I can't say that I didn't think about drinking. I really thought about saying, screw it, it didn't work. Because I'm a quitter, you know, I like easier, softer ways. You know, I've always tried to find the side way in, you know, or let me in for free. That's always been me, you know. So
taking that corner route,
and for and something made me stick with it, you know. But I felt like shit, you know, and I was like, man, can I continue to do this? Because my list was long, Alex. I really screwed over a lot of people.
We tend to,
yeah, you know. And I think it was, you know, in Forum 5, they tell you to write down, you know, all the people that you hurt, you know. And I was like, I didn't hurt nobody. I only hurt myself. And I have a wonderful sponsor that was like, you know, I've known you for this amount of time. I'm almost positive you've hurt every freaking person you know. So how about you just start writing down everybody's name? And she was right. To some degree or another, I had either lied, cheated, or stolen, or just been not myself with all those people on the list.
Yes.
You know, and now, almost 7 years later, I use all those tools. I still go to at least 4 meetings a week. The beauty of Zoom is that I can go to it anytime from anywhere. And, you know,
share that with people in case they're looking, you know, there are people out there who are struggling, who don't know how to go to a meeting or are scared to go to a meeting, and now there is Zoom.
Now they're everywhere, and you can go to aa.org and all the meetings are on there. I'm blessed to say that, like, right out the bat, in March of 2020, I started my home group on Zoom, and then I took that group and made an LGBT group on Zoom, and you know, and we were having like 200 people every single day, and it was beautiful. Now it's a lot less because, you know, now a lot of the rooms are open.
Yeah.
But I was fearful. I was a little selfish because I also thought, like, wow, what happens? This is like my church. When I'm having a good day, when I'm having a bad day, when it's just a whatever day, I come here.
Right.
What happens during COVID, which was something that none of us had ever dealt with in our lives? What do we do if we can't see each other, you know? The drinking got me into AA, but the fellowship kept me there. Those people made sure that my ass was in the seat every day. They called and texted me, where are you, big Latin Amazon girl? And I would show up, you know? And I was scared of some of them. They kind of put the fear of God into you, you know?
But they helped wake you up and empower you to be the woman that you are today.
They do. And why we are spared, I don't know, you know, because I've had at least 7 people pass, you know, die. People that I came into the program with that are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that have relapsed, I can't even count. I would say in the hundreds now when I'm at, you know, 7 years. And a lot of that would break me at times where I would say, you know what, F it, I'm gonna go out the door with them, but I would pray and something would get me out of it. I don't know what that something is. And again, that's why I do know what that something is. It's my higher power, you know? It's the energy that's all around us. It's our universe having our backs, so to speak. You know, we're constantly like, woe is me, woe is me. Victims don't get better.
Right.
They don't.
They don't. And it takes so much courage to own your shit, to talk about it, and to feel confident with sharing your story, because at the end of the day, and not to sound negative, but you're not unique.
No.
So many people have done the exact same crazy shit.
Yes.
That we've done, that, you know, other people have done.
Yes.
You know?
I remember telling my sponsor things that I had done, and I was like afraid that she was just gonna go, eek, you know? And she was like, I did that with 3 men. I would be like, oh my God, you know, because, and that's not just in AA, I think in everything.
Yeah.
As women, we're always like, if you had my life, you know, or we say things like, of course that happened to me. You know, with my luck, blah, 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 blah. We can't say things like that. We're sending out the wrong energy, and the universe is constantly listening to us.
Yes.
So it will send back what your ass is asking for.
Right.
You just got to be careful about what you ask for sometimes.
Right.
You know, I asked for the love of my life, and I ended up with a crazy Cuban. So you just have to be careful when you ask for certain things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's really courageous that, you know, you choose to be so open about your recovery, because that's something that I've learned a lot of people struggle with. You know, they want to keep that anonymity, especially when it comes to the work environment. You know, there's a lot of judgment out there, unfortunately.
Of course, there's a huge stigma on drugs and alcohol.
And you're helping shift that perspective, which is really beautiful.
Well, because it needs to be normalized,
yes.
Alex. You know, the reality is that when you think of an alcoholic or a drug abuser, you think of someone under a bridge, you know, you think of someone dirty with no shoes on. This girl here with these beautiful shoes on is an alcoholic. And I will always be an alcoholic in recovery, and I will have to do what I have to do every single day to keep that gift, because it could be taken away from me like that.
Yes.
Like that, you know? I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the beginning of this year, right?
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I learned from that as well. I'm not saying that it was like, woohoo, yay me, you know, but it was like, you know, and my wife told me months later that she was worried that I might drink, that might be something that would really, you know, because I felt like my body was turning against me. I was like, wow, what is going on? I stopped drinking and now this is going to happen? Like, what's up? You know? And I had to, you know, go in deep and know that I'm not the first woman to go through breast cancer. I'm not the last woman to go through breast cancer. And I caught it early. I'm sitting here in front of you, almost 6 months to the date of my double mastectomy, and I get to tell about it. I get to talk about it.
Thank God.
You know,
yes, that's amazing.
So, you know,
grateful.
Bad things are going to happen, you know, because just because we're good people doesn't mean that it's all going to be rainbows and butterflies and freaking unicorns. That's not the truth.
Right. You got to walk through the fear.
You got to sit with it. And as addicts, we don't like to feel that.
No.
We don't like to feel that at all.
I don't think any human being likes to feel that.
No, exactly. You know? No human being. I do believe that as addicts, there's some wires crossed.
Correct,
I really do believe that. You know, I believe that, you know, normal people can go and have a glass of wine when they get home and go, okay, coño, I feel much better. You know, we will have 3 bottles. You know, we don't know the limit.
True. There is none.
There is no limit.
What is it? One is not enough, and 1,000's too many.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. So tell me a little bit about FAY'What's childhood.
Oof.
I want to know, you know, like where do you come from?
I was born in Jersey, which is the armpit of the United States, right? And you know, my parents are Colombian Puerto Rican, and you know, I love them to pieces. You know, we haven't met eye to eye since I came out. I've been out for about 20 years now, you know, you know, growing up, I always knew I was different. I liked my volleyball coach a little bit too much, you know what I mean? And when my bestie moved to Orlando, I was devastated, like, you know, and I didn't know then that, you know, that those were those extra feelings, you know. You know, I had an okay childhood. I don't know my dad. I have a wonderful stepfather who raised me, and I love him, you know, to pieces. And he was actually the first person I ever came out to, and he was like, okay, cool. I love you for you, no problem, you know. My mother wasn't so easy, and we still kind of, you know, fight about that. She wasn't at my wedding. Super heartbreak, you know.
Yeah, that must have been really hard.
Anything, you know, what does a girl want is, you know, to have a big wedding and have your family there.
And that support.
And, you know, my brothers were there, which I'm super, you know, elated about. But my mom just could not wrap her head around me being gay. She just could not. And, you know, she would pull out the Bible. You know, and blah, 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 and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, in my drunkenness, I would start looking for verses that, like, you know, would counter her. Like, you like shrimp, right? It says no shellfish. Now what? You know? So I would constantly, you know, bring these things to her face, which I don't think was the right thing to do. And that was part of my alcoholism also, just always trying to, like, I needed her to say she was wrong. You know?
You wanted her approval.
I wanted her approval, but I also wanted her to say I'm sorry, you know, for not hugging me enough. And the reality is that, like, once you do the work and once you start working on yourself, your childhood doesn't become that bad anymore. All of a sudden, you start looking at your parents as they did the best they could.
Correct.
You know?
They did the best they could.
You know, me coming out to my mom, there's a stereotype about what lesbians look like. Okay, and how lesbians are from a young age. I hate to call my wife out, but if you look at my wife's pictures when she's a little girl, she looks like a little tomboy in a dress. Like, you can tell that her mom dressed her, you know?
Yeah.
I've always loved big dresses and makeup and hair and shoes, like, but I, like women, and my mom it's very hard. It's been very hard for her to wrap her head around the fact that I had a ton of boyfriends and had no issue with boys. They just bored me, a blowjob and a sandwich, and they were happy, like I needed more substance, and women have that and have always had that for me,
I really like sandwiches.
Me too.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
More than blowjobs. A lot more.
Yeah, more than blowjobs for sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's really empowering. And I mean, despite, your mother not showing up to your wedding and not being as supportive and accepting and apologetic as you wanted her to be, you have still kept going in the direction of the life that you chose for yourself, that you're choosing for yourself, and that's empowering. You should be proud of that because it's hard.
It's work, Alex.
It's work.
And I'm lazy. And I'm lazy. I am lazy. Like, you don't understand. Like, I
love the honesty.
Because it's the truth. I show up now because I know I have to. The gifts that I have gotten because I've done the work and because I keep on trying to do the next right thing. I'm not perfect. I F up all the time. Every night, I'm like, I go through my day and I go, oh, I should have done that better. I should have done this better. But I've got these tools now and I use them in everyday life. It's just kind of take a breath, pause instead of cursing somebody out, like before you jump at the chance to just have an altercation with somebody when it's not necessary,
Right.
And I'm glad that I was able to learn that before COVID and vaccines and non-maskers and all that, because I would have lost my shit last year on somebody for sure.
Absolutely.
So it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
What is it that, that you're, I think you're really passionate about kind of being in the public eye and making a difference. Is there anything else that you're like really passionate about?
Definitely pets, definitely animals. Like I told you before, it's the unconditional love that we get from animals, and the amount of dogs and cats that are out there that don't have homes, like during quarantine, I told you guys about Face for a Family. So during quarantine, Face for a Family was not working because most people were at home with their pets, so they didn't need me to take care of their dogs.
Right.
So I went to Miami-Dade Animal Services and picked up 8 dogs and found them all homes during quarantine. And people were happier, like they were home alone. Why not be home alone with your dog?
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that is something that is like, I guess, I don't know if that's more of a passion than it is like, okay, that's just true to my heart, At the end of my drinking career, when I was suffering maybe, 3 seizures a week, like easy.
Because you would stop cold turkey and then.
Well, if I had too much or if I had too little, there was no way to gauge by the end of it. If you guys know the Smirnoff bottles that has a handle, that would be my drink for 2 days. Okay, I'm not that big of a person, and that is how much I drank every 2 days.
But people don't realize that is fathomable, and it is.
And it is.
Prime example.
And it is. And, and I would come to, and my dog Padme would be like sitting there licking my face or licking my throw up or something. And I was like, oh my God, this has to stop, And there were, I almost said I'm embarrassed to say this, but you know what? I'm not embarrassed to say this. Suicidal thoughts were a common thing. I wanted to die almost every day. I woke up constantly like, fuck, God, why? Why are you waking me up again? I don't want to wake up.
Yes.
It's like, okay, a couple Xanax and vodka was the norm for me. And I've seen people pass away from that same cocktail.
Right.
And, but my dog was there, and I really now my dog can piss and shit everywhere and I can't do anything because I'm still doing living amends for that dog because that dog was just there for me. And it may sound silly to some of you, but
it was your companion.
Yeah.
Your dog was there for you when you felt like you had no one else. And I didn't have that. I think that that's very special and very beautiful. And it's helped, shape who you've become, and allowed you to give back.
Well, she saved my life, That's the reality of it. If I know that there was a couple of times there that I could have gone through with the suicide, but I thought to myself, if nobody finds Padme, I could not live with myself. There'd be no way. I'm gonna cry. There'd be no way that that dog is just everything to me. There'd be no way. My wife is gonna totally give me shit about this interview. She's gonna say, you talked about Padme for 20 minutes and you probably mentioned me once. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm sorry, baby.
And not that your wife is not important. She's very, very, very important. But this is something that people need to hear about because I think people don't always understand that companionship that can happen with an animal and the importance of being kind to animals.
And when someone says it's just a dog, I'm like, unfollow, bitches. I won't unfriend you because I'm not that kind of girl. I'm not in high school, but I will unfollow you. You know, like,
yeah.
It's not just a pet.
But I think that's really special. And, you know, in that, again, your dog kind of saved you, and now you're out there saving other dogs.
For sure.
Other animals.
For sure.
That's cool. That's like a 180, you know?
It's kind of like, you know, how you give back. It's how you pay
Yes.
back. You know, I'm a firm believer of paying back all your debts, and that's a debt that I probably will never be able to pay back. You know, my wife and I were just in Puerto Vallarta. We were in Mexico for 6 days, and one of the days we devoted to helping the SPCA down there. So we like
Very
volunteered,
nice.
walked their dogs, took care of kennels and stuff like that, and you know, it was a couple of hours of our day. Like,
How did that make you feel?
oh, I felt like a badass.
Yeah?
I felt like a badass because it's like, you know, I was tired, I was dirty, I was nasty, but like, you know, my wife was like, really? On vacation, we're gonna do this? But after that, you can tell that she had a little like pep in her step too.
Right.
You know, people don't understand that. Doing service, like, is a high. And I know that sounds
really-
cheesy. I know that sounds cheesy. I never expected to be that girl that walked around smiling. Okay, I would love to punch people out that walked around smiling. I lived in San Francisco. In San Francisco, everybody walks around like this. What the fuck you smiling about? You know? Now I'm that girl because it's like you only have one life.
Yes.
If I
Yes.
pass away tomorrow, I want everybody who is a part of my life to say, Faye always made me smile. She always reminded me of the good reasons of that humanity does exist and that we can all unite together and be part of this incredible community that we have.
Yes. Yes, girl.
You know, and like now not my new venture, but you know, you know, I've got a really close friend of mine that's trans, and like she's my fucking everything. She's my everything. She's my sister. We talk from the morning to the night, and I can't imagine my life before her. You know, now having her as a sister now, I'm learning all the ins and outs of the trans community that I didn't know. You know, I've been out for 20 years and I thought I knew it all, you know?
Same.
And
Yeah,
I don't know shit. And most people know less, Alex, which is incredible, you know? And you know, there's no way that legislatures and government are ever going to take us seriously if we aren't united together, taking care of each other.
So what do you suggest to the audience, to the people out there that are watching this? Like, because, you know, I think, and myself included, I'm still learning. I'm trying to educate myself. I'm utilizing this platform, this podcast to help educate myself as well. But like, what would you say to the community out there of how to embrace and help the transgender community feel more accepted, feel more seen, feel that they need to be heard, and that they are just as important as everyone else? Because at the end of the day, we're human.
We're human. We're human, and we're all part of this. You know, all the acronyms are together for a reason.
Yes.
You know, I know that my older folks, my older peeps, I know that we're like, okay, we've been there, done that. We fought in this. You know, we were there for Stonewall. We got through AIDS. We don't want to learn anymore. You know, now if we go back to those riots, the people who threw those first bricks were trans women of color that had our backs.
Yes.
Everything new always starts with the trans community, but no one gives them the credit that they deserve, you know? So I would say get educated.
I agree. I think that it's important that the community, everybody out there, educates themselves on learning more about the transgender community. And I think, truthfully, and I can only really speak for myself, but like, I've been fearful to go and approach my friends who are transitioning or who have transitioned, because I don't want to offend them. And I'm so limited with my education that the fear feels like it's paralyzing me from learning what I should be learning.
Well, it's kind of like how so many people are against the LGBTQ community because they don't know us, they don't understand us, right?
Yeah.
And then they end up with a gay or lesbian or whatever daughter or son, and all of a sudden they're forced to, you know? Look at Eminem's adopted daughter. She came out as non-binary a couple months ago, and it's like, wow, Eminem, who said so many derogatory things against our community, now has to sit and deal with our community, like it or not. you know, so that fear does paralyze us, but we can't allow it to.
Right.
You know,
no, I agree.
It's, you know, it would be different if it was like, you know, we're under the same umbrella, Alex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's like I'm almost positive, I would say 98% that those friends of yours that are early transition would be over the moon that you would ask them.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Because it's fear, and you don't want to offend, and you don't want to say the right thing. But the reality is that saying the wrong thing will lead to saying the right thing.
Right.
You know, we've got to stumble before we can walk. You know, and
amen, sister. Amen.
And you know what's the biggest thing, Alex, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to do your show was because I am totally like I can't believe how the lesbian community hasn't come up for the trans women. At the end of the day, trans women aren't trans women. Trans women are women. Lesbians are women. So what the F then? Then why aren't we coming for each other? Right. You know, boys have different stuff. I get it. Boys are different. Gay boys are different, you know, but girls are girls. Ever since we were little girls, they would pair us together to walk to the bathroom together.
Right.
Grab your nearest trans woman and grab her by the hand and walk to the bathroom with her.
Yes.
It is time that we stand together with these girls. They're getting killed every single day. Okay, and because a lot of us lesbians get to pass, we just say it doesn't have anything to do with us. Bullshit, it does have something to do with us.
Yeah, it definitely does. We need to fight for our community.
We really do.
We need to protect them and make them feel safe and accepted. And the only way to do that is to ask questions, to educate ourselves, to be vulnerable, to take risks. And thank you.
You're not always going to say the right thing.
Right. And
that's okay.
And that's okay, you know, because I think that's part of learning. Like when you were in math class or, you know, English class, you weren't always going to get the right answer, but eventually you learned and you got the right answer. And as long as you keep doing the right thing, saying the right thing, respecting, you know, the process, trusting the process, rather, everything will work out.
Everything will work out. But it's just one of those things, like, you know, the progressive flag was such a big to do. It was like, oh, you know, we're not respecting our elders and history that put together this flag. Aren't we an inclusive community? Don't we want to include everyone? So if I have to add 15 more lines and some freaking glitter, I'm gonna do it, because I want us to be included. I want every single person that believes that they're part of our community to see themselves in the freaking flag.
Yes, I love that. I love that. It's so true. It's so true. So I want to know, what is the legacy that you'd like to leave behind?
That's a tough question.
I know.
Being your true authentic self is okay, and it's enough. You are enough. You're enough to be loved. You're enough to love someone, whoever it is. You know, life is hard, Alex.
Yeah, it is. And no one gave us a guide as to how to deal with heartbreak, death, you know, mental illness, suicidal ideations, addiction. No one gave us that in elementary school.
No, and then you throw some LGBT sprinkles on top of the shit cake, and then you know less.
Right.
You know less. You know, I'm the first person in my little family that came out as gay. So I didn't have anybody to look up to. I didn't have anybody to ask. I've been winging it for 20 years. I've been doing okay. But, you know, like, it's you know, it's one of those things where you should grab someone younger that just is coming out, you know, and being your true authentic self, and show them the way, and maybe they won't fall and get all those bumps and bruises that you went through.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So if I said before, if I leave tomorrow, I would really just ask these lesbians out there to step up, to stand up, to, you know, we've got to do more. We've got to do more. And I don't know exactly what that is, you know, but I'm only one person, and if my voice does anything and resonates with anybody, then I did my job. And I'm happy, and I could lay down tonight and say, thank you, God, for giving me another exceptional day of power and voice.
Thank you. That was amazing. I love that.
You're so cute. I'm going to have you just walk around with me. So like, whenever I talk to people, you go, that's amazing. And I go, yes, Alex, I love it.
It is. I fucking love this show. It's great. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
So I want to know, what is something that you wish that the community would kind of embrace upon more? And I guess I kind of want to go towards like a conversation that we had briefly before the show Just to be honest, I was like, Faye What is kind of a big deal. I'm just starting out, and it's a little intimidating to ask somebody who's doing, a similar concept to be on your show, because you feel like there's fear, they might not want to be, your audience isn't big enough. And when I spoke to Faye, she was like more than happy to do it. And I want, and I felt like, would she feel like there's some sort of competition? And I don't want that to be the case. And thankfully, you said that wasn't the case.
No, my words were, there's room for all of us. And if you're educating too, then hell yeah, sister, keep it going.
Yes.
Women have, oh God, we just, not all of us, of course, but, we walk into a room and it's like, is she prettier than me? Does she have better shoes? Like, we're always trying to step on each other. And man, there's no point in that. We're so much stronger together that it's just undeniably stupid when people do that. And women can get catty with each other.
Yes.
And there just isn't a need. So when you asked me to be on your show, I was like, F yeah. You've had Grace on here, who I love, from Aqua Foundation. I love you. You've had Josie. You've had Deanna, who I love as well. Like, you've had some great women on the show.
Thank you.
How could I not? And all those women are not stepping on each other. They're
No.
sitting on each other's shoulders going, all right, let's keep on. Let's keep this train going. We are going to kick ass and take names and be unapologetic about it.
Yeah. And I want that. I mean, I hope you want that more for the community, because I feel like there is so much competition, and I want that to change. And I don't know how to do that aside from talking about it.
Completely. Look, think about this. We can't keep a lesbian bar.
Right.
We can't keep a lesbian bar open.
It's so true.
Okay? There are between 13 and 15 in the whole country. In the 80s, there were about 300.
Wow.
Let that sink in. Okay?
Wow.
13 in the whole country, and 3 of them are in New York. So let's just say that. Not 1 in Florida. Now, I know Miami, South Florida is this small. The rest is Trump country. I get it. But it's just, I don't want to say that we don't support, because that's not it. We do support. We come out when we need to. But, for the most part, when it comes to establishments, we need to go local. We need to go and say, oh, Josie owns Bubbles and Pearls. I'm going to go spend my money there on Wilton Drive because she's a lesbian. I'm a lesbian. I want to support my community.
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, usually after the show, I tend to take my guests out to specifically Bubbles and Pearls almost every week. And not everyone, it's an acquired menu. It's a great menu, but there are vegan options. There's, carnivore options. Did I say that? Carnivore? Yeah, carnivore options. But it's, a small menu and a really amazing place. So I always go with everyone who's been on the show to show support, because it is important to do that.
And that's what we have to do. You know, women get together and then they go sit on the couch and order Uber Eats and freaking watch Netflix. We stop going out once we get together, and I'm a little different. I've always considered myself a little gay boy sometimes. So like I told my wife early on, I'm not that person. Like, know that I will go out with my friends if I want to go out, if you don't want to, and I would never disrespect you, but I want you to understand that that's never going to go away. I'm a people person. I need to be out there, and that's why me and her work is because of that. I can't stand being smothered and someone, where are you? What are you doing? What's going on? I haven't heard from you in 3 minutes, and I can't deal with that, but so going back to the clubs, we just, we do Aqua Girl, and we do Girls in Wonderland, and we do Dinah Shore on the West Coast. We put our money together and we go to big things, but when it comes to local things, it's
we gotta step it up more.
We have to. We have to, because these things, there's no reason why. I have friends come down and visit me from New York, and it's like, oh, take me to a lesbian bar. I don't have one to take you to. We can go to Holy Mackerel on Sundays, Josie's spinning, or we can go here, where Citizen Jane is spinning. Right. But, it's not, G-Spot. One of my dear friends, Mercer, used to own G-Spot, and, it went away. Like, it wasn't supported. It's not easy to open an establishment down here in South Florida and then not get the support.
Right, and to keep it. Faye, thank you so much for being on the show. It was an honor and pleasure to get to hear your story. I'm so used to you interviewing people. It was nice for me to be able to interview you.
Yeah, for a second I was about to turn it around and go, but how do you feel about this, Alex? So thank you for allowing me to sit in this chair.
Absolutely.
It really does mean a lot. You know, I definitely want your viewers and your listeners to know that, you know, second chances happen. And, you know, if you want to go get that career, go get it. If you want to go back to school, go to school. If you want to come out and live your true, authentic self, do it. If you want to stop doing drugs and alcohol, you can.
Yes.
You know, there are no boundaries. Life is limitless. The only boundaries are the ones that you set yourself.
Yes, sister. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you,
an honor.
Alex.